What's up, everybody, and welcome to 2019, and I hope that you had a good New Year's and that 2018 wrapped up well for you, and it's time to start looking ahead. But before we get there, we need to, we can't ignore this. Microsoft made a promise in 2018, and they failed to deliver upon it. And so here's kind of how it breaks down. In 2018, Microsoft said in a blog post that, let's jump on over here to that post, they said, hey, we're going to have a better revenue share for developers. And what they were doing here is trying to incentivize developers to build apps and bring them to the Microsoft Store. And so this doesn't include games, but what they were saying is that they were going to give a 95 revenue split, which means 95% to the developer, 5% to Microsoft for deep links. So it basically means that if you deep link somebody to your app or whatever, directly to it, you'll get 95.5. That's great. If Microsoft promotes it in the store or through a collection, they were going to give you an 85% revenue split. Now, Microsoft typically is doing roughly a 70-30. I know there's some caveats in there and whatnot. But that was the new model that they were coming out with. And so if we jump down here, it says what applications or when does the new fee structure go into effect? Later this year, it says, we'll prompt you to accept a new version of the App Developer Agreement that outlines the Microsoft Store fee structure in detail. So great. So in the springtime here, when did this go live? May 7th, they said, hey, this is coming. This is going to be great. The problem is, as you probably know by now, it didn't. And if we look at the App Agreement, which was effective date May 23rd, it's not in here. We can actually just go to the change history to make this real easy, because this post was done on May 7th, so the agreement would have to have been updated after May 7th. And if we look here, they did push out an update on May 23rd, so maybe that's where they do the changes and add the better incentivized sales structure. But they didn't. You can read exactly what they added here, and it does not align to Microsoft's blog post, which means that Microsoft, you didn't live up to the promises that you made in the spring to incentivize people to build apps for the dev store. And it's a really big kind of downer, because Microsoft has a decent relationship with developers. And I say decent because you have issues for longtime developers like Windows Phone 7, Windows Phone 8, Windows Phone 10, kind of rebooting and all that stuff, retooling. They've killed some platforms over the years, but overall, I mean, they build Visual Studio, they build code, they build great tools. The problem is that, again, Microsoft's communication is coming up and kicking them in the butt, where they made a promise. They actually made this promise at Build, their developer conference, and then failed to deliver on it. And what they're doing is eroding the trust of the App Store that Microsoft has established, which basically means, Microsoft, you lied. And that's not a good thing to do when you need them at just about every turn. And so I have pinged Microsoft, but it is January 1st, and I will update and follow up and see what they say. I did reach out to about a dozen different developers, because I was thinking maybe they forgot to change the App Store agreement, which would have been a huge red flag, because the developers have to agree to the new structure. And none of them said that they got any of this, that they're still under the old model. They never had to accept a new agreement. Their payouts are in line with the old agreement following the change, that last change. So it's not like there was a stealthy update or anything else like that. Microsoft just didn't meet their deadline of doing this by 2018. And so shame on Microsoft for doing that. A lot of people are bashing Apple right now for missing their AirPower deadline, but Microsoft also missed its own for making their App Store just a little bit better for developers. And this comes in the face of where you see other app platforms like Discord. You see Epic came out with Tim Sweeney, just like, there's a lot of pressure in the App Store space right now for improving payouts to developers and taking less of a cut for the host company. And for Microsoft to drop the ball on this at this time, when you see other platforms coming online, is just going to make it that much harder for developers, A, to one, trust Microsoft, but two, to really kind of invest in that platform. And so here we are. I will update this. I don't expect Microsoft to come back pretty quickly. Like I said, it is a holiday today, and I'm the only insane person working, but they typically don't respond too quickly and say, hey, we screwed up. Typically, it'll take a couple days. I might be biting my tongue here. But with that, folks, that's it. Microsoft screwed up here, and hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you next time.